Acts of the Apostles, chapter 23. Now, this is a chapter filled with drama, courage, divine intervention, and deep lessons that resonate with us even today. This account is more than just a historical recount. It's a story that reveals the essence of faith under fire and teaches us that God's purpose prevails, even in the most perilous of times. As we walk through this chapter together, I hope you find inspiration and strength to face your own challenges, knowing that God is always working on your behalf, even when you can't see it. Paul before the Sanhedrin, standing with conviction. So, this chapter opens with Paul standing trial before the Sanhedrin, a powerful assembly of Jewish leaders. And Paul begins by confidently declaring, "My brothers, I have lived my life before God in all good conscience up to this day." And this statement was bold considering the hostile environment that he was in, and Paul was not just defending himself. He was making a profound statement about his life's dedication to God. However, Paul's declaration triggered Ananias, the high priest, to order those standing nearby to strike him on the mouth. Paul's response? "God will strike you, you whitewashed wall." Now this was sharp and daring, but it was showing that even a man of God can stand up against injustice. Paul's rebuke highlighted the hypocrisy of the council, which outwardly followed the law while acting unjustly. Now think about that for a second. Paul's stand reminds us that even when we face powerful opposition, we should hold to our integrity and faith. It also shows us that it's human to react to injustice, but ultimately we are called to trust that God sees and judges righteously. The divide between Pharisees and Sadducees, wisdom in action. So Paul, realizing the council was composed of Pharisees and Sadducees, declared, "I stand on trial because of the hope of the resurrection of the dead." And this statement strategically set the two factions against each other, because the Pharisees believed in the resurrection, angels, spirits, etc., whereas the Sadducees did not. The result was immediate. A fierce argument broke out, distracting them from their unified opposition against Paul. And then the Pharisees even came to Paul's defense by saying, "We find nothing wrong with this man. What if a spirit or an angel has spoken to him?" And this brilliant move not only shifted the council's focus, but also demonstrated Paul's quick thinking and understanding of human nature. So that's amazing. It's so beautiful. Think about that. Paul's response teaches us to use wisdom and insight to navigate difficult and potentially dangerous situations. We may not be facing a literal trial, but we often face conflict. And knowing when and how to speak can bring about unexpected outcomes and reveal deeper truths. Divine encouragement in the darkness. So that night, while Paul was likely feeling the weight of uncertainty and the threat to his life, the Lord appeared to him and said, "Take courage. As you have testified about me in Jerusalem, so you must also testify in Rome." And this was more than a reassurance. It was a promise. God was affirming that Paul's journey was far from over and that his purpose would be fulfilled. This moment is pivotal. It shows that God does not abandon us when we are surrounded by fear or danger. Instead, he comes close, giving us the strength to carry on. And consider that. It's powerful. When you feel isolated or overwhelmed, remember that God's voice can still reach you, bringing hope and direction. His plans are not thwarted by the schemes of man. This divine encounter is a testament to the fact that God sees our struggles and steps into them with us. You're never alone, right? That's beautiful. I love that. The plot to kill Paul. Unforeseen help. So the following day, more than 40 men conspired together and vowed not to eat or drink until they had killed Paul. Now, this shows the depth of hostility that he faced. Yet, in his dire moment, God's hand moved through an unexpected source. Paul's young nephew, the boy overheard the plot and courageously went to Paul in prison and informed him. Paul then sent his nephew to the Roman commander, who took the matter seriously. The commander's response was swift and decisive. He arranged for Paul to be taken to Caesarea under the protection of 200 soldiers, 70 horsemen, and 200 spearmen. Now, this was an extraordinary measure of security at the time for just one man. God's protection is amazing, right? So think about that. This episode is a powerful reminder that God can use anyone, even those we might least expect, to bring about his plans and protect us. It also shows that no detail escapes God's attention. He orchestrates events and positions people in the right place at the right time for his purposes to unfold. I love having a friend like that. So, Paul, excuse me. My goodness. Paul's transfer to Caesarea, divine protection, and human justice. So the Roman commander Claudius Lysias sent Paul to Governor Felix with a detailed letter explaining the situation. And this move ensured that Paul would receive a fairer trial and that the threats against him would be neutralized. Paul's journey to Caesarea, surrounded by a formidable guard, was a testament to God's protection in the midst of human politics and schemes. So consider that. Even when surrounded by forces that seek to harm or defeat us, God's provision is there. The 470 soldiers accompanying Paul symbolize the extent to which God can go to protect his people. And our journeys may not always be straightforward, but we can rest assured that his care encompasses every detail, even when the path is fraught with danger. So I love this story and how it's unfolding. It's beautiful. And as we reflect, we see a story filled with tension, wisdom, divine assurance, and the intricate workings of God's plan. Paul's experience teaches us that faith does not exempt us from trials, but it does promise us that we are not alone in them. And God's voice is ever present, reminding us to take courage. His hand is ever active, working through unexpected people and circumstances to fulfill his promises. So, as you move forward today, let this chapter remind you that your trials do not define you. They refine you. Stand firm in your beliefs. Seek wisdom in challenging times, and trust that God's purpose for you is greater than any plot or obstacle that may come your way. Remember, when it seems that all is against you, the one who stood by Paul stands by you too, orchestrating every moment for his glory and your good. Take courage, walk boldly, and let your story be one that testifies to the unwavering faithfulness of God. It's beautiful, isn't it? Amen. I can't wait to see you tomorrow. This is my favorite time. I love spending time with you, and I love going through these stories. I can't wait to see what happens next. It's going to be amazing, and we're going to talk about it tomorrow when I cover Acts of the Apostles, chapter 24. We'll keep moving forward, and I can't wait to see you. So don't forget to join me here. Have a beautiful day, friends. I'll talk to you then.